What's up, everyone? My name is Mason Marquis. I'm with Jackson Gamber. We have a special guest. I'm going to let Jack introduce him, and then we'll take it away.
So, he's a former D1 football player at the University of Missouri. He's current D2 football player at Mississippi College. Safety Justin Efebera.
Appreciate y'all having me, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, bitch so bad I wanna shoot like hoops while I'm riding in the coupe. I got what you want, it ain't nothing but a loop. Don't listen to friends, they don't know what's best for you. I want you, shoot like hoops while I'm riding in the coupe. I got what you.
What's the best conference in college football?
Oh, it's got to be the SEC.
Nah. Come on. It's got to be the Big Ten now.
Really? Over the SEC? Especially
Bro.
Texas, Oklahoma. And the SEC is already like Georgia, Alabama, despite all the stuff going on. Like, you really, top to bottom, you really think so? I think the default answer is always the SEC, but I like the argument, but I think I'm going to have to disagree with you on that.
Just starting off, growing up, did you have a favorite college team, or did you have a favorite like NFL team?
Yeah, so I would say I was always big into sports growing up. I would say my favorite NFL or like professional sports team was Boston team. So I was a Patriots fan, Celtics fan, things like that, because I grew up there. So like from the ages of about like 3 to 9, I was like living in the Boston area. And then me and my family moved to Ohio after that when I was about 9. But the sports culture is so strong in Boston, that it kind of just sticks with you. When it comes to college, once I got to Ohio, we lived in Columbus, it was definitely just Ohio State. That's like, you can't say nothing about Columbus without mentioning Ohio State. So those were kind of my teams really when I was growing up, just Boston sports professional. But then when it came to college, Ohio State for sure.
See, we're from the Philadelphia area. We're from like New Jersey. So me, I disagree with everything you just said. Everything. But I'm Philly everything, and then I've got to be Penn State. So
Okay. Yeah.
Hearing Ohio State hurts.
Yeah.
Hearing the Pats hurt. The Celtics hurt probably most of all, honestly.
Yeah.
But it makes sense the way you grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you were to have a night out with 3 people, and they can be dead or alive, famous or non-famous, who would they be and why?
Oh, man, I don't want to spend too long on this question because questions like this I tend to think too much about. Dead or alive?
Mm-hmm. It can be, yeah.
Anybody.
Anyone.
3 people. Okay. I would say first person that came to mind would definitely be like Jesus, man. Like just
okay.
I would talk to Jesus, be like, why is the world how it is? What's your purpose behind all this? Things like that, right?
Yep.
I would this is random. It just popped into my head. But you guys are familiar with like Amelia Earhart, the whole
yeah.
I would probably try and get her because I'm like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? And I feel as if when I was a kid, that was something no one ever figured out, like what happened to her. So I would like get her. I'd be like, what happened? Probably just I don't know, figure that out. And then I'd probably say somebody from my family. Somebody like I'm somebody that's really big into like knowing my family tree, ancestors and things like that. And I get a lot of knowledge from my grandparents, specifically my grandmother. But if I could get like somebody like maybe my great-grandfather, great-grandmother, who I don't really know in person, and I would probably talk to them about certain things like that too. So maybe someone family related, and then like the Amelia Earhart history related, and then like religiously related, Jesus. I would definitely do those 3.
So you just got a lot of questions and you want answers.
Yeah, like who doesn't though? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I've always just So I would say those 3. That's a pretty good list.
Yeah, that's a good list.
So saying Jesus, are you big into religion?
Yeah, I'm a Christian. I grew up that way. Not perfect, obviously, but just always was raised and born that way, and kind of carried that through with myself as I grew older. So yeah, I would say that's definitely a big part of who I am and what I believe in for sure.
How much did that play into like pregame? Like, would you pray with your team a lot? And
Yeah.
go through like everything with them?
Yeah, I think that's definitely like a big ritual for a lot of teams. You run out the tunnel and then you go pray in the end zone. You guys have seen that before. And definitely, yeah, like I feel as if most guys that play sports, specifically football, you have to believe in something, whether it's God, Jesus, whoever it may be. But I feel as if like there's so much that goes into that you just have to sometimes just believe in, a higher power that's controlling everything around you. And so I feel as if like not only me, but a lot of my teammates, former teammates, have had the same belief.
I like that. Who in your life has been the most influential to you besides friends and family, and coaches?
Besides friends, family, or coaches?
Yep.
Wow. I would say maybe would teammates count?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I would say maybe teammates. Been blessed enough to play with a lot of guys that have been really good, are in the league, have been in the league, things like that.
Yep.
And I feel as if like staying in touch with them and being able to like kind of still talk to them gives me a lot of insight into how like the NFL really works, how it is when you quote unquote make it to the level that everybody wants to make it at. And like I think that's just been a big influence on me. And so every time, or every now and then, I'll talk to certain people, like certain guys like Larry Roundtree, who's a running back who played for the Houston Texans most recently, but he would play for the Chargers most of his career. And he played at Mizzou. He's been, somebody that I talk to from time to time. Aubrey Miller, who played linebacker at Mizzou, and then Jackson State, who was in the league for a little bit. Like those are guys that I really like enjoy talking to, and have been like really influential on just my mindset on how football works, and like my views on like trying to get to the next level, or just treating football while you're at the college level, where you are right now.
I like that.
So, what is your diet as a collegiate athlete, and what do you do to stay in shape throughout the season?
Yeah, so definitely I would say to stay in shape, you just, you train. We train, practice. That's kind of given. My diet, I would say I eat clean, but I don't eat necessarily like healthy. So, one thing that I've been working on is like not eating too much fried stuff. But once a week, you kind of just let it go, let loose, maybe eat a few stuff
Cheat
like that.
meal.
Huh? Yeah, cheat meal. Yeah. And so like I tend to eat like a lot of rice, a lot of grains, protein and meat is good, chicken, fish, things like that. Fruits, I eat fruits every day. I try to eat fruits with every meal. I'm not a big vegetables fan, so I go with fruits, and I try to do veggies when I can. Um, and then a lot of snack. I snack a lot, like granola bars, Cliff bars, the Quaker Oats bars, Cheez-Its, which might not, may or may not be good for you, but it is what it is. And things like that, Gatorades, water, a lot of water. And so things like that. So I don't eat too like different from what anyone else would eat, but I try to keep it clean and like nutritious to an extent. And not too like fattening. Nothing that weighs me down or sits with me. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could have one cheat meal, what does that cheat meal look like?
Yeah. Probably like a good soul food meal, man, like fried chicken, mac and cheese. And I eat mac and cheese regardless, but I think, like I said, the big thing is fried stuff. So like fried chicken, mac and cheese, stuff that you like eat on Thanksgiving and things like that. Like, so that would probably be my cheat meal.
Now, would you believe this man doesn't like mac and cheese?
I'm not mad at that because it depends on
Thank you.
cheese, and it depends on like who's making it. So I'm a big like baked mac and cheese type of thing. Like it needs to have like the brown covering over. I can't do Velveeta or like the powder stuff. Like I can't do it. So I'm not mad at that at all. Yeah.
I think he's just scared to give it a chance.
Nah, man.
I was like that for a long time too, though. So I didn't like recently. So I'm not mad at that. I would say try the baked, but if you don't like baked mac and cheese, I'm not mad at it. Mac and cheese isn't. For a long time, I thought it was one of those overrated foods that a lot of people just loved, and I was like, eh. And I realized I like that one type, that baked. But other than that, any other type of mac and cheese, I'm not rocking with it.
So before we move into your current state, what was it like playing at Missouri?
Man, it was a blessing, man. It was a blessing. Like, when you talk about SEC football and like everything, all the resources and money and everything that goes into it, it's exactly what you would have thought it was. Like the facilities are crazy. The resources that go into, your health, your nutrition, the trainers, everything is just like top notch. So I just think like having that experience, being able to like run out and see the whole stadium full, And like just being surrounded by, you know, all that was really like a great experience. Like I'm so blessed and so, you know, happy that I was able to do that for 3 years. And so I think overall it was great. I mean, there was ups and downs personally, but I mean, overall, I think it was a great experience.
I can say, you know, I've never ran out of the tunnel, but I've gone to a couple Penn State games. Seeing the players run out of the tunnel, it's just electric.
Yeah, it's like the stuff you only dream about or see on TV, and you're living it yourself. So it was amazing. Yeah.
I don't go to Penn State. Like I said, I'm in trade school, but I would sneak down into the student section with my friend Kevin. And the second they come out, just the energy around all the players is just insane. If I could do anything, I would run out with the players one time.
Yeah, it'd be worth it for sure.
So if you had to describe your move from Missouri State to Mississippi, would you say it's more of a setback or like a learning curve?
Whew, that's a really good question, man, because you kind of look at it as both things at certain times. So obviously, like, you know, the reason why I left Mizzou to go to Mississippi was mainly, you know, playing time, but also I had graduated from Mizzou and I was still a walk-on at the time. So being a grad student and paying for that was not an option for me or my family. So I kind of leveraged football and used what film I had at Mizzou to be able to get offers and opportunities from other schools, even if they were smaller Division II schools. And so coming here, obviously the resources and everything that comes with SEC football is not, you know, here. It's a good school, but the football, the resources into athletics is not what I'm used to, right? So in that aspect, I'm looking at it like a setback. Like I'm going to a lower level of football, even though it's still good football, you know, a lot of talented players, a lower level, smaller school, spotlight's not necessarily on you like that anymore. And in some ways it felt like a setback because I just felt like I wasn't being pushed and I wasn't, you know, experiencing what I had experienced before. And then in other ways, it could be a learning curve because obviously I'm continuing to live away from home. And now I live in an apartment. So I'm more so very much learning how to live by myself, how to take care of myself, do certain things, learn how to cook, like how my family cooks at home and things like that, and learn how to live in an environment in a place that I have no ties with. I'm not from the South at all. I've never even thought I'd be living in a place like Mississippi for any period of time. So learning how to like kind of grow up, continue to try and be like a man, live in an environment that you're not comfortable or used to, in some ways is a learning curve and something that will, I guess, make me better. So in some ways, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's both at the same time, you know?
Gotcha. So not only are you a student and an athlete, but you're also, I consider it kind of a business owner with your TikTok and your YouTube. How much pressure does that have on you, and like how have you been able to time manage everything?
Yeah, it can get to be a lot of pressure if you allow it to. One thing I always like tried to tell myself was that like don't let the pressure to post this often or this every day like get in front of your priorities. Like I will like happily put social media to the side for a week or so if I have like a hard week for exams and stuff like that, you know. So I try not to put too much pressure on myself for that, but it can get hard. And what was the second part of that question? My bad.
What's like how do you time manage everything with it?
Oh, yeah, time management, like boy, that's something I need to improve on for sure. But it's like just trying to create a time and place for everything that I need to do. But it gets tough because sometimes you don't want to just be working and doing something all day, every day. So I try to give myself breaks. I try to give myself rest when I need it. But just creating time for everything that I need to do. Hey, this time is dedicated for homework. This time is dedicated for, hey, let me edit these videos. Let me get this video done so I can post it this day. So you have to set a time aside for everything that you have to do. And that's kind of how I'm able to try and get things done the best I can.
What specifically motivated you to start a YouTube and a TikTok?
Yeah. I've always been someone, I feel like that was I like to talk. I like to share my experiences. I like to be in front of the camera more or less. And so I remember like I was at Mizzou one day and I was just thinking to myself, man, I do a lot of stuff. Like I do a lot of stuff, waking up early, doing all these workouts and walkthroughs and meetings. And like, and I felt like not enough people acknowledged or understood what we were going through as athletes, even though people know, but they don't really know if you're not in it. Yeah. And so I kind of just thought to myself one day, like, yo, somebody gonna have to see this. So it was just like I started just picking up my phone and recording. And like my first TikTok video was like it was like a tour of our Mizzou facility. And like when I look back at it now, it's like the quality wasn't as good. The way I framed it, I was like, ugh, like I made that. But it was like my first little video where I showed people kind of like what my experience as a student athlete looked like. So this is where I live. This is where I am most of the time. And then that kind of it just kind of grew, that those type of videos turned into day in the lives, they turned into vlogs, they turned into, relatable posts, little gimmick posts where you use trending sounds and stuff like that. And then eventually YouTube came later. As I got a camera, I got a vlogging camera, so I was able to kind of, try and do that. And I've been doing YouTube for maybe like since my first video, about a year or so now, a little over a year. So it was just a gradual process, starting off with TikToks and little videos on my phone, and then trying to graduate to YouTube, and now just doing both.
At what point, like during your TikToks, were you like, you know what, this could be something it's something you really wanted to pursue?
Yeah, I would say when you kind of see those followers and like that engagement, it kind of like it makes you feel good. Like obviously that's what social media does. It gives you that dopamine when you get the engagement that you want. But it definitely like gave me kind of like a boost of confidence, knowing that there were people that identified with what I was going through, my story, specifically being a walk-on and how I even started playing football in the first place. And as I started to make more videos and share my experience, there were people that would reach out to me and be like, hey, I saw your video. I want to know how you did this. I want to know how you did that. Even you guys reaching out to me now for this podcast, like that's the type of thing that keeps me going, because it's like if only one person can just hear how I'm doing what I'm doing and like how I'm able to do it, then hopefully I can motivate that person to try and better their lives and do the best they can each and every day too. So, there's other benefits when it comes to like brand deals and partnerships like that, where you can earn a little money too. And that's a big benefit I feel like I'm looking forward to as well. But mainly just like the aspect of being able to reach people and help them and empower them to do what they want to do, specifically within football.
Gotcha. So is YouTube and TikTok something that you see yourself doing like long term? Because you do make some pretty quality videos. I checked some out on
Appreciate
YouTube
that, man. I would say yeah, but I don't mind kind of doing it as a part-time thing. I think obviously you get influenced by a lot of like the YouTubers and TikTokers who are like full-time influencers. And you're like, man, I would love to do that, but at the end of the day, it's still work. Like editing these videos, it takes time and energy. So for me, I would love to continue just creating content, but I don't mind doing that as just another means of maybe to make a little extra revenue, or just something I like to do added to what I do for like my career, and work in general. So maybe if it just gets to the point where I'm like, I can just rely on this, it would become a full-time thing. But I'll try and probably to balance it with my, typical, standard career.
So you were just talking about like you kind of went into your experience as a walk-on. What was the idea behind that? Like, did you go to Mizzou with the intention of walking on, or did you get there and you're like, you know what, we can give it one more go?
Yeah, it was like a mixture of both, to be honest. So when I started playing football my senior year of high school, and I ran track throughout high school. So I was a decent athlete, but I hadn't played football until my senior year. And I kind of just fell in love with the game. I kind of fell in love with the lifestyle of being an athlete and just wanted to continue that for whatever reason. And so when I just went to Mizzou, I was trying to reach out to coaches the summer prior anyway, but I didn't really get anywhere far with that. Some people answered, but a lot of times they just look at you as someone who's trying to take their time, and they don't really give you the time of day. And so it wasn't until I got on campus as a student, like in August or so, and I just walked to the facility and I told them I wanted to play. And so I was able to run into somebody in the administrative offices, and I like talked to them. I said, hey, look, I'm trying to walk on. I've been reaching out. Here's my name. I got my film ready. I got whatever you need. I got it. You film whatever it is. And he takes my name down and things like that. But I don't really believe that he's going to reach out to me because, that's just how it works most of the time. So it turns out that was the director of player personnel at the time. I think he's still there. And it wasn't too long, maybe a month or so after, a few weeks, I get an email from the director of recruiting say, we heard you stop by. We're interested in like bringing you on. And that kind of just created a series of communication back and forth during that semester. And then it all kind of finalized itself that next semester in the spring when I was able to get in through the tryout. And by that time, I was familiar with a few coaches and people because I was in contact and doing what I needed to do. And I got in through a tryout, did well at the tryout, and that's how I basically walked onto the team.
Getting that initial email back from them, how'd that feel?
Yeah, I was about to say
crazy. It was definitely a crazy feeling. Like I just checked my email and I was like, what? They responded. Like I remember I was pretty happy, man. Like I remember I was actually studying with some friends at the time. And like I wanted to keep it to myself, but I was like, yo, like look at this, like they responded. And like I was turned for sure. Like I was definitely happy. Like it was what you believe it would feel like, that's exactly what it felt like. Like it was just an amazing feeling.
So what made you decide to start football your senior year of high school? And why didn't you start before?
Yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with my family, specifically my mom. Like my mom is probably the person I respect and love like the most, my dad too, but like she's probably the hardest working person I know. My mom's in the medical field though. So until like my senior year, for whatever reason, she didn't want me to play because of the risks, the concussions and things like that. And added on to that, I was a decent student, but one thing my family really emphasizes is grades and academics. So my grades weren't where they probably needed to be. So it just gave them extra reason to be like, you're not playing football at all. It was kind of like if your grades are on point, if you're doing everything you need to in school, we might consider it. But because there was that reason added on to the fact that she didn't want me playing in the first place for health risks. It wasn't until my senior year where like, I was able to drive. So they were like, well, if you can just transport yourself everywhere you need to go and you're paying for gas, obviously. And I was also working part-time at the time at Walmart. So I was just getting a little money to pay for gas to be able to drive me from school to school every day to practice and things like that. And so it just came with kind of like age and experience and just understanding that like, if that's something he wants to do and he's able to do it now, especially specifically with me driving, well, we're going to, we'll let you do it. So it really wasn't necessarily my choice. It was kind of just, a matter of like me not being allowed to do it. But, senior year, it kind of just all came full circle.
I got you.
If you were to compare yourself to one football player, who would it be and why? Whether it's mindset or like playing style?
Yeah. Think about this a lot. I would say, for my position, I play safety. A lot of guys that I like to like look at and watch film at are I would say two guys, Buda Baker and Antoine Winfield Jr., the one who plays right now, I think, for the Bucks. Just because I feel as if they have very similar body types to me. I'm somebody who's I'm not like that tall. I'm about like all of 5'11". And for safety now, that's kind of like, it's not short per se, but it kind of is where you would like to be, more so 6 foot, 6'1" and more. And you got the age of like freaks now. Everybody's like 6'5", 250, running 4.3. So it's like, you have that. So I would say those two because I see myself in them physically. So looking to see how they play, knowing that they may not naturally have like the talent or the range that a lot of maybe taller safeties would. But seeing how they play, seeing the energy, the effort that they play with, the lack of fear that they play with, I feel as if that's something that I try to model my game after a lot.
Buda Baker, he's the one that picked off the Seahawks, and then DK called him, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be that though, but yeah, like he definitely. I mean, a pick's a pick, So yeah.
He's got to get his speed up.
Yeah, he got to get his speed up. I don't think that would be me, getting caught like that. But DK's a freak too, so I would accept it if he got me. But like I said, like Buda Baker he's a guy that he focuses on like watching film and knowing his opponent and then just playing with all out effort and being a leader. And I feel as if those are qualities that I'm trying to have as a safety specifically. And Antoine Winfield as well.
So, talking either in football or outside of football, what are your goals and aspirations for yourself?
Yeah, man, that's something like, when you're a football player, it's hard to like think about that sometimes because you're so consumed with football a lot. I would say, I'm going into my last year eligibility. And so my goal still is primarily to find a way to play professionally. Obviously it's a lot harder now because of being in a D2 school, and I need to be able to produce to be able to even get looks. But I feel as if the amount of work I put into the game and the amount of years I've been going at this now, it's like I would be kind of like shorting myself if that wasn't my goal. And not preparing my mind to just be like, it doesn't matter. Like, no, I'm gonna go as hard as I can and I'm gonna see where it goes. And if it's not a possibility, well, then that's okay. Life moves on. I would say outside of football, just being able to continue to be consistent with my content, and then obviously like finding a career that I feel like I enjoy and that obviously can provide for me financially. So right now I'm getting my master's of business administration, so that's something that can put me in a lot of different industries, to be able to serve in any type of role. So just finding like a place, somewhere that's right for me, that is able to, pay me, well enough, and just continue to build from there. That's something I don't mind doing. I don't mind working like a 9 to 5, like many people nowadays. They don't want to. I don't mind that at all. I just feel as if I want to be able to provide for myself and my people, my family, help them out, and just continue to obviously stay in shape, physically as well.
So this is a question that I really wanted to ask.
Mm-hmm.
So what does your pregame playlist look like, and who are you listening to get ready before your games?
Let me grab my phone right here, because like a whole little playlist. I would say I listen to a lot of different music, and I guess it depends on the mood I'm in. Different things like that. But I would say I listen to obviously primarily a lot of rap and hip hop. And it really just depends. I'm a big Young Thug fan. I listen to him before games. I'm a big Lil Uzi fan. I listen to him before games, certain songs. Then I'm a big rap fan too. There's certain artists and rappers I listen to, like Pusha T, Benny the Butcher, guys you might not even be familiar with. And so, it's a lot of different flavors, a lot of different styles, a lot of different genres too. So I couldn't really put my finger on one artist, but I feel as if I just listen to whatever, makes me feel a certain way that I need to in the moment to play the best I can.
Gotcha.
So kind of segueing off of that, what's the locker room like pregame, and even during practices, like with motivation? Yeah. Are you guys playing music in the locker room? What kind of stuff's going on there?
Yeah, typically you playing music in the locker room, beforehand, trying to just set an environment. And it really depends on the culture of the program. I've been in, programs, or I've had years where the culture and the environment wasn't there. There wasn't a lot of energy to practice, and that was for several reasons. So you'll walk into the locker room and it's just dead. Everybody's trying to get through it. And then certain days, the idea is fresh of practicing. So a lot of times, your first day of fall camp or your first day of spring ball, everybody's hyped, everybody's ready to go. So you kind of have more energy there. And then as it keeps going, it kind of may die down a little bit. But I feel as if generally, you have music going on in the locker room. You have guys, trying to lock in, maybe their headphones are in and things like that. But I would say it's definitely a pretty, pretty lively environment. Guys are just trying to set an environment to where it makes them lock in and be the best they can be on the field. So I would say music is probably playing though.
What's one key detail about collegiate football that high school athletes should understand, and to understand before going into their first college football season?
It's a good question. I would say it's a business. It's a business. It's a business. It's a business. Like at the end of the day, it's great that you're playing college ball and that you have this opportunity, but it's a business. They're as soon as you step on campus, they're recruiting to try and get someone to replace you while you're still trying to fight for your spot in the first place. So I would say that's the main thing. It's a business. Nobody owes you anything. You're not, guaranteed anything. And so you have to just try and make it for yourself. It sounds bad, but it's just a business. No one owes you anything. You're not deserving of everything. You have to go earn it yourself. So it's a business. If you don't do your job, you don't see the results you want. You don't play. So you got to do your job right. And just like any other job or business, that's what it is. College football is a business for sure.
So how has playing college football changed your personality and your character on and off the field?
Yeah, I would say it's made me a better. I would say I've football is one of those sports that you learn so many lessons of life through. Sacrifice, teamwork. Working for a common goal with certain people, ups and downs, things like that. So I think it's made me a better leader, a better um, person with time management. It's given me the skills I feel like I need to be successful in life. I feel as if personality wise, individually, it's made me more confident. When I got into college, like I wasn't a fat person. Like I was physically fit, or I appeared to be. But when I went through the training and all the training that you do for football practices and things like that, you kind of build confidence because you tend to look a certain way, especially like you do all this training. So now I have a muscular build. And so I feel as if just knowing the amount of work I put in, I kind of have a certain confidence about myself because I look a certain way. So people can tell I take care of myself, physically. And I feel as if there's a lot of confidence that comes with that because you go through a lot of pain to get to that point. So I feel as if it's made me more confident as a person. It's made me more outspoken at times, being able to just kind of do things like this, talk to people about my experience. And then it's given me more perspective on life, through all the ups and downs of football. I've been able to kind of look and see, understanding that I'm still at a position that a lot of people want to be in. So it's taught me to stay grateful throughout, the ups and downs and everything like that. And brought me closer to my faith for sure. So I feel as if it's really helped me in those areas of my life.
That's good.
Mhm.
What is your favorite memory of your college football career so far?
Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a whole lot. I would say there was really two games my freshman year at Mizzou. We beat LSU our third game in double overtime on a goal line stand. And at this time, LSU was the reigning national champions. This is 2020. And that was a big game for us, just because we were 0-2 at the time. So that win really gave us some momentum to try and, get our season back on track. And that was a big moment because I think when we deflected that last pass on fourth down, like half our sideline ran onto the field, and that's obviously a flag. But it was like that was just a great moment. I would say that same year we beat Arkansas like 51-48, I think, off a game-winning field goal, and that was like a big game for us. Um, a lot of things like that, a lot of locker room moments, pre-game locker room moments, post-game locker room moments, close games. I mean, I could like talk all day about that because there's been so many moments where it's like, bro, like you look back and you're like, I really got it. I was really able to experience that. I was really able to be there for that. And so I would say those two games kind of stand out, especially since I was a freshman, so I was kind of new to everything. But there was a lot of games, man. There was this game, I think 2022 season, we beat Florida on a double overtime too, off a 2-point conversion. That game made us bowl eligible, and that was actually the game that got Dan Mullen and his staff fired. So it was kind of crazy, like how that worked out. And it was senior night, so that moment, knowing everything that came from that game, that's also another moment too, where it's like, man, we were able to win that for the seniors, and that things like that. So, and those are not the only ones, but those are just a few of the moments that I can remember when you ask that question. And so, but there's been a lot.
That LSU game, were you guys home or away?
We were home, and it's so crazy. That's such a crazy story because we were supposed to be away, but I think at that time Louisiana had a bad hurricane or like weather, so they had to change it to where they came over here and came to Mizzou. Keep in mind that was also like the COVID season, so a lot of stuff was being switched around, canceled, things like that.
Well, I wouldn't even think about that.
Yeah, and so like the stadium was really only half full, like so they had to use like automated crowd noise to kind of make the environment like what it needed to be. So that was crazy. We weren't even supposed to be at Mizzou. We were supposed to play at LSU. But they came over there and we beat them. So that's crazy how that worked out.
See, if that wasn't the COVID season, I know you guys would have run. Every fan would have been on the field.
Yeah, like that, boy. Let me tell you something. Yeah, that would have been. Yeah.
So, what the locker room looked like after that win?
Man, we was turned. We was teed, man. We was dancing. Music was bumping. Like what you expect the locker room to look like. That's exactly what it was. It's like I still got pictures in my phone from it, and it was it was great, man. We were happy to get that win, and yeah, we was definitely we was teed in that locker room. It was a lot going on.
That's awesome, dude.
So you guys started 0-2 that year.
Yeah.
Obviously, just to start that way, like there's never been a college football playoff team to have 2 losses and make the playoffs.
Yeah.
How do you guys keep the motivation there, like to keep pushing forward throughout the whole season?
You just tell yourself you ain't got no other choice. You don't want to lose every game, so might as well win this one, you know. But I wasn't playing, so I was, and I was a freshman at the time, so it was, me. I'm just trying to do my part, practice well, get our players ready on scout team. But yeah, it's tough to be in that environment where like you're seeing the guys that are playing and they're not seeing the results that they want. We're losing, and so that was tough to be a part of. But you just tell yourself, the coaches always preach it too, that you got no choice but to keep moving. So you gotta find a way to get yourself out of it. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a 2-part question.
Mm-hmm.
So besides going from Missouri to Mississippi, what other challenges have you faced as a collegiate athlete?
Oh yeah. I would say like the challenge of being a walk-on for sure. As I continue to like kind of be more experienced at Mizzou, I got into like my second, third year there. I kind of was, growing. My mindset was growing that I deserve to get more playing time. And like I said, you don't deserve anything in college ball, but like obviously being more experienced, working my butt off, being in the program for now, 2 or 3 years, I'm starting to feel like it should come. It should come. My time should come. And not getting that opportunity or feeling like you were overlooked or feeling like they put other people in front of you based off just the scholarship situation is something that I feel as if was tough for me at a certain point in time, because it made me feel like I wasn't enough, as an athlete. And, because so much of your life is football, it makes you feel like you're not enough as a person. So I'd say that was a big challenge, just feeling like I wasn't useful. I wasn't being used, because they can go find somebody else. At the end of the day, that's really the truth of the matter. Like I would say, no one is me, but they can find somebody else to go serve the role that they want you to serve. So just feeling like I wasn't useful, that I wasn't being, used or valued in the way that I wanted to, was tough to deal with at times. So I would say, like that experience of being a walk-on was tough at times to deal with. And then obviously you have being a student athlete, you can also have a tough time balancing school and football. And there was times where I was definitely stressed out, like how am I going to get this assignment done, this and that. But I would say the main thing to answer your question is definitely like that struggle of being a walk-on and feeling like you're not useful or valued to the team. It's tough, especially when you feel like you've done everything you should be doing and have worked as hard as you can. So yeah.
And now, why is facing challenges like those important for things like growth and self-development?
Yeah, because I think it's a representation of life. Like I said, football, it represents life really well in a lot of ways. And I feel as if that's just what life is, You work hard, you do everything you need to do, and you don't see the results that you want. But what else can you do but keep waking up and keep, going after it each and every day? So it kind of just taught me to keep going. And eventually, like, although like I'm at a D2, which a lot of people may see as a downgrade, it's like now I'm not a walk-on. I'm a scholarship guy. I'm one of the most, valued guys on the team. I would say I'm at a place where I'm valued athletically, and I'm going to school for free, and that's something to be grateful for. So I feel as if like your journey takes you to different places to where what you wanted is not necessarily, it doesn't come in the package that you wanted it. Me, I wanted to be on scholarship, but I didn't envision it being at a D2 school. But when I look back at it, I have to be like, well, I'm grateful for where I am now, because that's really what I wanted. It just didn't come at the place or the setting that I thought it would. But I'm still in a sense where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, less serious question. What's one rule you would take out of college football or even out of the NFL if you could?
Yeah, I don't know if this is necessarily a rule, but some refs are like sticklers on it. But what I would take out the use of knee pads. I don't think skill positions need knee pads at all. And if it was up to me, well, personally, I don't really wear knee pads in games anyway. But it was like if it was up to me, I just say like they're not necessary. If you're like a safety, receiver, corner, you don't got to wear any knee pads, because I don't like them. I don't like the way they feel on my legs. I like to show my legs. I like to roll up my pants as far as they can. So I would just say like, yeah, get rid of them knee pads for sure. And then I would say a more like, I guess, established rule. You said in college or the NFL?
Yeah, either one.
This is going to come with some mixed reviews, but I don't know necessarily how I feel about the new overtime rules. And here's my thought process on this. I feel as if overtime is an extra period to where each team, in a sense, has not proven that they've done enough to win the game outright. So I kind of like the idea of sudden death to where the first team that gets the ball, if they score a touchdown, it's over. And that this is just in the NFL, obviously. But now, of course, every team has a chance to possess the ball unless it's a defensive turnover turned into a touchdown. And I don't know necessarily how I feel about that, just because I feel as if the game can keep going and going and going because of that. But
that's only in the playoffs, right?
That's I think it's in every game now, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought regular season, if you score a touchdown, it's over. If you kick a field goal, the other team gets the ball. I thought.
You might be right, but I just remember watching the Super Bowl and I was like, dang, like the Chiefs can get the ball back and they don't even have to it's like a new game. So you don't even have to like do it within the first 10-minute period. It's like there's a second quarter and a third quarter or
there's no pressure.
Yeah. And I don't know if I like that as much because I think it just makes it's kind of too comfortable in a way, but I'm not mad at it. But I feel as if like I would like to see it go back to the old rules because I like that idea of sudden death. It's kind of like a do or die situation.
Me personally, I love the way college does it.
Yeah.
I think college does it perfect, but I also think like one of the most important positions, but also the most underrated positions is kickers. Having a kicking competition, that'd be so cool. It's like, just imagine you go to overtime and the other team, Justin Tucker, walks out. You're like,
that's a lot of pressure.
You gotta pay the kickers.
That's a lot of pressure, man. But I mean, if you got a good kicker, it works. I love that. Go ahead.
No, you go first.
No, I love that. I think college football, they changed it to where I think after, and I might be wrong, but after 1 or 2 touchdowns, now it's like you just have to go for 2-point conversions.
Yeah. After the second overtime, it's just 2-point conversions.
Yeah. And I love that change because a lot of times you would have like 7 overtime games and stuff because like it can be easy to score touchdowns sometimes. So you're just going back and forth. So I love that new rule. I feel like that's a dope new kind of new rule change.
I think the first overtime you can either score a touchdown or you can kick a field goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one, I think you have to score a touchdown. I think I could be wrong.
Yeah.
And then I think the third and pass, you just have to go for 2-point conversions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. College, I think, does it perfectly. Yeah. But I think the kick competition would be kind of cool.
That kick competition. Would you suggest that like maybe after like the third overtime or something like that to where it's like, okay, now just kickers come on and let's just see.
See, I don't know. But they could do it one of 2 ways. They could be like, you either walk out and you kick a 60-yard field goal, and if you miss it, then the other person can kick wherever they want. But if you make it, then they have to make a 60-yarder. So like it's kind of whoever kicks first is up to them. It's like they can play horse.
That's crazy.
Nah, I think the overtime rules in the NFL suck. I agree.
Sometimes if it really depends on who you're rooting for, truth be told. So it's like, yeah, whoever you're rooting for, it might be a benefit or a detriment to whoever you want to win.
I mean, I didn't want the Chiefs to win, so I am
so it was like you wanted the 49ers to score a touchdown to where like now it would put the pressure on the Chiefs, but now it's like really you want to defer. It's like a whole new game, so now it's less pressure to let the other team get the ball first. And I feel I don't necessarily like that because I just feel like that sudden death rule. It's like we want the ball first. I like that. It's like we need to get you before you get us. I think that was I think I like those rules a little bit better. I'm not mad at the new rules, like I said, but yeah, like I get your mindset on that. Just feeling like it's not as pressure filled anymore. Yeah.
Okay, so this could just be me, right? So I'm not huge into football like him.
Mm-hmm.
I play soccer.
Yeah.
So what I just hate about like football in general is the fact that there could be 2 minutes left on the clock and the quarterback can just take a knee and then the other team has no other chances. Like I just feel like just the time wasting aspect.
Bro, they do the same thing in soccer.
Not
the goalie
like
will get
that,
the goalie will
though.
make
Like,
a save and lay on the ball for 30 seconds.
You did get me there, but
like realistically, it just proves that your defense was able to get the stop to let your team kneel out in victory formation.
Okay.
Like it proves that your defense was just good enough to get the ball back for your team.
All right.
Yeah. Time management is really important in both those sports, I would say. Cause soccer, y'all, I watch soccer a little bit too, and y'all definitely know how to waste that time for sure.
Yeah. But
especially
any team that has a countdown, any team that has a clock,
Man,
everyone knows how to waste time.
Yep.
Everyone knows how to waste time.
Definitely.
That's true.
Baseball's the only one that can't waste time.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you're partnered with a lot of brands and companies. I think there's 4. How did those partnerships come about, and how they come about?
Yeah, it really just came about from me reaching out, and I'm still trying to like figure out what brands align with what I want to do and which ones are, maybe the most profitable. Maybe I just need to, distance myself from this brand or this and that. But those just came from me kind of reaching out. It was just a matter of like, I like what you're selling, I like your product, and I want to be able to kind of, get in on that. So a lot of times it just came from me DMing and saying, hey, I love your product, I love your brand. I would love to be able to have like my own personal code so that when I advertise it, people can go to your website and buy from you. Then I can get a piece of the, the product too. And it's not necessarily a money thing. I mean, there's money in it, but you only get like a certain percentage of the sales. So it's unless you're just getting a lot of sales, it's not meant to just generate money. But I think just to generate like or show what I align myself with, and what I like to, align my, my brand with. So just finding brands and finding like clothing brands. I'm big into clothing that really align with my mindset and what I'm about. I feel like what's more important than just finding a way to make money. So it's just something where I just kind of reach out and I'm just like, hey, I like what you're doing, I like your brand, and I would like to kind of be part of that.
So I don't know if you play any video games at all, but like with the new NCAA college football 25 coming out, it's rumored that like in one of like the future DLCs, they're gonna have D2 schools in it. I don't know if that's true or not.
I wish it was this year. Yeah, because it was like, like I seen that, and I don't play not anymore. I was a big Madden fiend in like high school, but I was just one of those guys. I just kind of got off video games once I graduated. But I've been tapped into like the whole NCAA, video game kind of news, and I wish it was this year, just because like I feel as if everybody, you gotta try and include as many people as you can. But I understand why it's just D1 right now. But that would be dope. I would just be interested in seeing how they would rate certain people. Like, how do you know who certain people are? Like, you'd have to watch a lot of film for that. And I feel as if that's probably why they don't want to do it right now, because that's a lot of work you have to put into it. But that would be amazing. That would be amazing. And if you could do like D2 versus D1 and like try and do the ultimate upset, I feel like that'd be a dope add-on to the game for sure.
Now, would you start playing if somehow you ended up in the game?
Absolutely. Yes, if I was on that game, man, what? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And
the real question is, are you would you transfer yourself into back to a Power 5 conference?
I don't know about that, because here's what they do, right? They like me. I was a walk on at Mizzou, so if you're not playing or you're like buried in the depth chart, well, they might not even include you on the game. Truth be told, because that type of stuff happens. But then say you are on the game, they're gonna do you so dirty with the ranking. Like, you're gonna be a 51 rated DB. I feel like that's like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be embarrassed like that. So I don't know. But what I would do is that I would go into the settings in the depth chart and place me as the starter still. So it is what it is. But I wouldn't transfer, I think, for the game. But I mean, it would be cool to see me in the game for sure. Yeah.
All these players are getting like $600 and a copy of the game, saying that they got, like, people are saying they're getting fleeced. Bro, if I'm in a video game, I'll pay to put myself in the video game.
Yeah.
Just seeing myself in a game would be so dope.
Yeah, that would be that, and I think that's kind of the experience that the EA is kind of banking on. Well, you're in the game, so we're giving you a little bit of money, and just be happy with it and the game. But that's a lot of players to pay too. Like all the players that play college ball at the D1 level, it's like that's a pretty. I feel like it's pretty decent. I would take that in a heartbeat. I don't feel like they're getting, kind of did wrong at all. But obviously, the money generated from the game probably is going to far surpass what they're paying the players, but that's just not how it works.
They're paying like 11,000 players, so like that's like over $6 million right there.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. So.
It's a good amount of money going out, and they're all getting the game, which is like the game's gonna be like $70. So if they all bought the game, most likely not, but like that's another almost $1 million off of profits.
Yeah, they're paying them with the product. Yeah, I feel like it's a good deal. I would take it.
Oh yeah, I would 100% take that.
Mm-hmm. So I saw in a video that you mentioned about having the right mindset. How can someone facing a setback in their mindset recover and stay focused?
It's a good question. I would say, obviously my experience, I can't speak to everybody's specific, personal experience, but I was raised in a way, and football has taught me, kind of reinforced that like, especially as men, like we can't say we can't do it. Like there's no just sitting on your losses and just moaning over it. You have to find a way to just keep going, and it's not always going to look good or feel good, but what else can you do but keep moving? I think that's what I just tell a lot of people is like, what other choice do you have? There's no point in just dwelling on whatever setback you have. You have to find a way to just get back on your feet and keep taking one step in front of the other. And it's a lot easier said than done, but what other choice do you have? That's kind of like my thought process. Like, what other choice do you have? So keep it moving,
So you've talked about family and friends a lot throughout this interview. How much motivation has family given you, and like how much has it pushed you to keep going?
Yeah, they're probably like my number one motivator, truth be told. Just because obviously, like, I love my family and I just want to be able to be the best I can be for them. I think my family's done a good job of like, reinforcing to me that like football is not the end all be all. Like I said, my family really values, school and things like that. And they tell me like football is a great means to an end. You're getting your school paid for it, but making the league or making the NFL or playing professionally does not determine your worth as a person. And there's a lot of other options in life, than just playing football. So I guess with that being said, it kind of lessens the pressure on me to try and like not be so hard on myself when football doesn't go the way I want to. But they're a big motivator. Like, I just want to make them proud, obviously, like we all do. And so I think, right now football is the main way, I can do that. But in life in general, I feel as if there's opportunities to be able to do that. So they're just a big motivator and just guiding me and helping me be the best I can be, whether it's in football or out of football, because they worked really hard for me to be where I am now. So
love it, bro. Anything else?
I got nothing. If you want to say anything, shout anybody out.
Words of motivation, stuff like that.
Whatever you want to do.
I feel like I've said kind of everything. You guys have asked all the questions. So
yeah, bitch so bad I want to shoot like hoops.